Hey everybody, welcome to Dad, Daughters, and Drinks, where you'll always get at least two of those three. Today we are reacting to Angelina Jordan, 10 Years in the Making. So this isn't exactly a music video, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's some sort of a mini documentary. I think she even kind of does the narrating of it. I'm not sure if this is going to be like a full chronology, if it's going to be like behind the scenes footage versus live performances, or what exactly it's going to be. In my last video, a few people recommended that I take a look at it. And so, yeah, let's take a look. Hopefully I don't hear too many things I haven't reacted to that I want to react to. I suppose if I do, it'll just be a little snippet and it won't really hurt anything. Right, for instance, here we've got Heidi Klum from the America's Got Talent, she had already won Norway's Got Talent by this point, but she did America's Got Talent, which if I remember correctly, was some kind of almost a champions version of the show. This is where I think she sang Bohemian Rhapsody when she was 14, I want to say. And so I guess she got the golden buzzer on this one. If I'm getting this off a little bit, I apologize. I know the Angels are always very accurate in terms of what she does and how old she does when she does it. So if I get it a little wrong, please forgive me. But I think that's pretty close to right. So let's see. I think somebody in the comments mentioned it's got her from the crib, basically, practically all the way to her latest Vegas concert that was in February that I almost was able to go to, and I couldn't make it, which I'm still kicking myself for a little bit. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look and see what you get. I think that's funny, not only because she's singing better than me there, but she still has that little baby kid thing of I'm done. I'm just gonna set the mic down. The music's still going, but that's what they do, right? I said my piece and I'm done. That face right there is perfect for what she just did. That vibrato that she finished that note on. Oh, Oh, so good. It's rare that you see him just look flabbergasted. I mean, what a voice. Lately, when I react to people who have amazing voices, and she's at the top of the list pretty much, there's a part of me that feels the need to always state that, they have to work really hard. There's clearly a fantastic amount of innate talent involved. But at the same time, if somebody's born with just an amazing voice and they can just, instantly sing perfectly, to me, that's not as amazing as somebody who has to work for it. And maybe it's amazing, but maybe not as impressive, right? If she's naturally born with some kind of an amazing voice, it's not necessarily about her and things that she's done as it is just about a quality that she has, right? If somebody's born super tall, right, you go, oh, that person's born super tall, but you're not necessarily celebrating an achievement of theirs, if that makes sense, right? It's just the way it is. Whereas people like her who are born with a gift and then use it and shape it and mold it and really take it to not just the next level, but the next level after that. That's where it gets really impressive. And you can tell that, she does that. And people have stressed from a very early age, she didn't just kind of go with the flow. She was 6 years old going, this is the song that we're going to sing. This is how we're going to sing it. This is the arrangement, right? I think people talked about the musicians always called her boss because she was like honed in on this is what we're going to do. Uh, and to me, that's the amazing part, right? The quality of her voice is incredible, but the part that's really inspiring is things like her work ethic and the whole story about the little girl and the shoes and why she performs barefoot. Like these are the kind of things that really set her apart. Uh, is just an amazing person.
To me. Wow. And that moment of performing for the first time on stage, I was like, I knew that my music was bigger than myself. This one clip just went viral of Gloomy Sunday, and everything really like changed in a way that I never expected it. At some point, I just couldn't go to school because, I had people from LA flying to my school to they were just curious. They were like, is this girl real? Like, she's just 7 years old.
That's kind of creepy. Unless I'm misunderstanding, like she's specifically calling out like people from LA, right? Which makes it seem like they're people in the industry or something. But like you're flying from LA to Norway without her knowing? Like she's saying like I couldn't go to school because people were showing up. And it wasn't even like it sounds like it wasn't a one-time thing. Like one day I was there and there's this weird guy who flew from LA cuz he wanted to hear me sing to confirm that I was real. But like apparently it happened enough that she didn't want to go to school. Like that sounds creepy. Like I can totally get maybe you're some sort of a record exec and you want to confirm like is this a real thing? Because if it is, maybe we're interested in it, whatever. But like wouldn't you like call the parents or somebody and like set something up? Like you don't just fly from LA to Norway and go to some kid's school and like accost them or something. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but this sounds kind of creepy to me. I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Who's that?
We're caught in a trap.
Grandmother,
I
maybe?
could not do it without them. You're not only family, but they know you deep down inside like no other. And so it's so important that is in the right place.
And this Elvis song in the background. It's almost distracting. It's such a good song, especially with, like when somebody like her sings it. Not that like Elvis was a bad singer, but you know what I mean.
I like no other.
One thing I always appreciate is when you have, you know, we start to see, especially with like the internet, like you start to see more kids with an amazing talent that are able to blossom and become, very, famous and achieve great things. But I think the big difference between what I feel like I see on like YouTube these days versus like child stars that came through Disney in the 90s or whatever is back then it feels like there was almost this transfer of ownership of the kids from the family to like the record executives or the Disney studios or whatever. And all the kids, I shouldn't say all the kids, most of them, to my knowledge, end up a lot of times pretty messed up because they're put in really strange situations and they don't have really good guidance and the people around them are not about the kids' best interests or whatever. Uh, Now maybe there's some like negative confirmation bias type stuff in here. Like nobody's making documentaries about the kids that ended up positive or something, right? But the point being, in the internet age, I feel like the families are much more involved, and you end up seeing the kids like Angelina Jordan or the girls from The Warning, like they end up being much better people, I think, when they're getting older because they keep their families around them and their best interests are always put at the forefront, which I really, really, really appreciate.
And so it's so, so important that is in the right place. What you're doing to me. It's not only about creating music, it's just your identity, your style, everything. And with the support they've been giving me, and
And she had that do back in the day too, huh? That's awesome.
I want them to always be my shield. And we can't build our dreams on suspicious minds. If an old friend I know. When I first found out what music was at the age of like 1.5, it was just like something that I just couldn't get enough of. So I don't know, I felt like it really came to me more than anything else. And I mean, ever since I discovered like the different genres and everything, I was just like, I was obsessed. I just couldn't get enough. I think it's an honor to be compared.
Oh, I have a hard time listening to that song. That's like one of the most beautiful songs ever, Unchained Melody. Up until recently, I actually thought it was originally written by the Righteous Brothers, and it's not. They were covering it from somebody who I think it was in a musical or something, maybe like the year before. Uh, but boy, that song is just gorgeous. And when somebody who can sing sings it, and I think you know what I mean when I say that, like, oh. My darling, I've hungered for. I think it's an honor to be compared to like those legendary artists like Adele and Amy Winehouse. I truly look up to them with, for example, how, Adele hasn't really been changing anything with how she is. And I disagree with that. I mean, I think, her statement about being compared to Amy Winehouse and Adele, I totally get, especially with like the jazzy style of, how she does things are very much in the kind of Amy Winehouse, realm. Her vocal abilities, would be more compared to Adele. Because I think Amy Winehouse wasn't necessarily, you didn't look at her and go, she's like a vocal monster, like you would say, like Adele, right? And I think Angelina is more like a vocal monster in the realm of Adele, jazz monster in the realm of Amy Winehouse. But to say Adele hasn't changed, I was reacting to. Just recently, Angelina Jordan doing the A Million Years Ago, Adele, and I was talking about how Adele had actually changed over the years. How you had, like, you looked at 19 and it was much more like restrained and kind of like, well, maybe a little bit more bluesy, a little bit more like kind of fun. Uh, then you get into 21 and things become a little bit bigger. You kind of got all these great, breakup song type things going on, right? But it progressed and you started to see some of the bigger Adele vocals that you didn't necessarily see so much in 19. And then you get to 25 and, I mentioned in that video that I hadn't heard all of the album yet, but the things that I heard tended to feel like they were approached as somebody saying, we've got Adele singing, we need to make sure she does great sweeping vocals, and then we wrote a song for her to do that, and then she does it, and it doesn't quite, for me, like kind of have the heart and the nuance that her original music had. Um, just me, just one man's opinion. Uh, I'm sure everybody's going to have a different opinion on that whole thing, but that's just how I view the whole thing. So it's interesting that she specifically called it out and said Adele hasn't changed. Maybe I'm wrong.
Hasn't really been changing anything with how she is, and I think that also that inspires me a lot. I haven't really been changing anything with how she is, and I think
Where are they?
that also that inspires me a lot.
Are they at the Bellagio? I'm not sure. I know that wasn't where she performed. Maybe this is where she performed. I've never been to that venue, but it just almost reminded me of the, what's it called at the Bellagio, the conservatory or whatever it is, that area that they're always changing the scenery depending on like the, nearest holiday or whatever. So much still
So we're on the way to Westgate. I having my first ever Vegas show tonight, and I am beyond honored and excited. And we're about to go to do a sound check, and then I have a meet and greet, and hair and makeup got to be done, and then show.
It's funny when you've been performing since like practically the crib, like you get so used to it, I guess you would say, right? It becomes not a scary thing. You don't get nervous doing it. So it really takes a special kind of event, I would say, to like really make you feel nerves again. So this is clearly a big deal for her. And if I remember correctly, this is like a place that Elvis played, and was kind of a big deal to her for that reason. That's really cool.
It's not that I get nervous, it's more that excitement, like that that moment that you're just like waiting for, like starting the show and seeing all the beautiful people coming from all around the world. So it's sort of like that waiting feeling, like, oh my God, I'm so ready. And just...
This brings up an interesting point about, like finances behind certain things like this. Like I remember as a kid, like a concert never cost more than $20. And I realize I'm kind of old, right? But even in today's dollars, it's not that huge of a difference. Um, and all of a sudden, I think it was like the Rolling Stones, maybe one tour they had where they started charging $100 for a ticket. Nobody could believe it. Uh, and then over time, like it almost like at that point, people went, oh, we might be able to charge more and more and more, right? Then you had the Eagles doing their Hell Freezes Over tour, which was, high dollar tickets. And then you start getting to these Vegas shows where it's a lot of money, and usually they package it up with something, right? It's a small venue, you get close seat, you get hotel rooms thrown in, whatever, right? But you get these, packages for $2,000 a person or something to go see a concert. And you go, okay, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, it was $20 a ticket. And now you're looking at $2,000 a ticket. And sometimes it really is just the price, right? These Taylor Swift tickets that you see that people are spending $10,000 on, whatever, like for a concert ticket, really? Like, really? $10,000? Like, it's amazing, right? Now, imagine you're the performer and you're going to be at a venue and you know that somebody spent a lot of money, hundreds, thousands of dollars for the ticket, and they're going to be spending probably thousands of dollars to travel from all over the world and all of this to come and see you play. And I think, back in the day, somebody would go, hey, if someone's going to pay me $5,000, I'll perform for them at their house in their living room or something. Like, that's a lot of money. And now, like, one person's willing to spend that much money to hear you sing. Like, that's got to be a little bit stressful. And now she said she doesn't have the nerves, right? It's more excitement, but it's still got to be kind of, something you think about where you go, people are willing to spend a large amount of money, not in aggregate, but just per person to hear me sing. That's got to be kind of like inspiring and a little bit nerve wracking at the same time.
I've had a lot of preparation, so I feel super ready.
And we are about to see your big poster, Angelina.
Oh my God.
What did it feel like when you saw it for the first time?
Oh my gosh. I was
That's got to be awesome. You're in Vegas and seeing the big, one of those giant billboards with you on it. That's so cool.
so surprised. It was so funny I'm like, oh, that's me. No, it was amazing. I feel really humbled, and now I'm just so happy to have my humbled, and
I'm just pausing it for a second because I've still been listening to the music in the background, and she does one of those hums that I was talking about right here.
now I'm just so happy to have my first ever Vegas show. It's truly an honor. It's gonna come now. Oh, there it is. That is so.
Tell you, man, if she were to play at the Sphere, oh man, I was at one concert at the Sphere. I went to the U2 concert, the opening weekend I think it was the first opening weekend of the Sphere doing concerts, and that venue was the most fantastic, incredible thing I've ever seen. Obviously, it's a very different situation than something intimate like this place, but boy, I would see a crappy band who plays music I don't like at the Sphere because that place was so phenomenal. First time I've ever said that in my life. But if she were to play there, that would be really cool.
That's so cool. I mean, everything that Elvis has done, it just inspires me so much, from his style, his music. I've done so many. What I tend to do is I love doing my own renditions of cover songs.
That's the right thing to do. Absolutely.
I like that. Let's get the drummer song. 1, 2, 3. Drums will need more bass. Make some noise for Jay Flat on saxophone, ladies and gentlemen. Drums up. How about a little trombone? Come on, hit me on the horn. Are you guys hearing it? So.
Oh my God.
All right. Is that good? Drum Mel, is that good? Okay. Drummer is okay.
There isn't 1 second that I'm not listening to music, but it really comes to me all the time, because I do write in my journal every day about like everything happening in life and just people that I meet, experiences. I mean, I've been traveling the whole world.
And just a quick shout out to all these musicians, because I mentioned earlier the hard work that Angelina put in to hone her craft. And these guys, same thing. They're not famous people, but the guys that are in this situation are in this situation because they don't, really largely probably want to be famous, right? They probably studio musicians or people that are Vegas musicians that aren't wanting to travel. They're not wanting popularity, but these people are always like having trouble not using expletives for how talented they are at what they do. So just wanted to call them out real quick.
When I'm at the piano, I'll read through these stuff, and I really get inspired.
Bring it on, my heart is strong. There's nothing I won't do.
And this proves it. When I first saw her on I forgot what I saw her on, I thought, wow, this girl's going to be something when she grows up, and I just followed her ever since.
I've been following her for 3 years now, and I'm addicted. So I guess I'm a groupie.
So I actually told my boss that I'm moving today, which I moved last week. I took off work for this, and nobody knows I'm here. My family doesn't know. My work doesn't know. I skipped and literally just, I lied to come to this.
Wide open, so turn off the lights. I shine even more bright. Like a diamond. Step me right off my shoulder. I told you, now I'm about to show you. So turn off the lights. I shine even more bright. Like a diamond in the night.
One thing I appreciate about signatures like that is she still does signatures in a way that you can kind of see who it is, right? You look at like doctors who it's just usually like beep, beep, like these tiny little scribbles that are meaningless, which unfortunately is sometimes how they write the actual prescriptions themselves. Because I think when you're so used to doing that all day long, like you're a little less careful. It's understandable, right? So when you see somebody that's actually doing signatures and things, and they've probably done a million of them, and they're still like actually, and what I assume is I care enough about my fans to just not like flick a line when they ask me to sign something. That's good for her. I appreciate that.
This is, of course, Abbey Road from the Beatles. So we have Billie Holiday, her main influence, Elvis, Angelina in the third position. Paul McCartney was barefoot in the Abbey Road crossing, and then Grandma Mary behind.
Nice.
We are from New York City, and we are so excited to see Angelina perform. We love you. You are amazing.
And an inspiration to all. Beautiful person.
Sold out.
And sold out show.
Ain't all that I have left.
When did you get this tattoo?
Brazil. South Brazil. Yes.
Wow, and you too?
My wife.
Are you as big of a fan?
His wife better be as big of a fan, because if she's not, I'm sure she wasn't real happy about that tattoo.
Know you know me, at least that's how I feel. I'm trying to pull you closer to me, but it's just like trying to catch smoke. Love, I really wish you had a face. Maybe I could beg for you to stay.
Boy, they jumped from her doing the just a split second of the Bohemian Rhapsody to the Unchained Melody. Go back just a little bit. Right here. She looks really happy. Is that her sister? I assume so.
Far
I'm
from
not
home,
sure.
I still know I'm not alone. You're wherever I'll be, 'cause I carry you with me. If the sky gets too dark, I just look for my North Star. Finding you is easy, 'cause I carry you with me. Ain't no mountain high that I'm not gonna climb. No river is too wide, valley too low. The places that I go, fire and rain, keep throwing on my way. I know how much I can take. I get stronger from the pain. Fire and rain.
Where should I sign it?
Find the name and then Captain Lee from the Down Under Charlotte.
I think she just signed.
Like, how much time do you spend looking for some idol that you want to sign here?
World class.
Oh, above all the rest.
Like here?
Whatever works.
Or you decide you're just going to do your own thing. That's pretty cool too.
Make sure my dress doesn't
Very good.
Yay!
Awesome.
Or something like that. Oh my god, what an honor. Thank you so
Ain't no
much.
mountain
That's awesome.
high that I'm not gonna climb. No river is too wide, valley too low. The places that I go.
Yes!
We got a few folks to meet downstairs too.
Yes, I know.
Feeling we couldn't have it all. We are the melody who have my heart inside. But you played it when I beat it, rotating.
Back to the other stuff.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just spin it over.
And I think at that point, wait, what was she saying?
Spin it. Yeah, so I'm gonna just spin it over there.
Oh, so it's interesting. I know, like, she started speaking English at a very early age, and I think they had relatives in California, so maybe it was practically like bilingual from the start. And I didn't think that was exactly the case, but she's pretty young there, and I was wondering if, like, when she was singing that song, if it was like she was singing, but she didn't really know English at the time. But then she finished and she continued to speak in English. I think she said something like, I'm going to put this right over there or something, but it was, it was clearly English.
Spin it. Yeah, so I'm gonna just spin it over there. Looking back,
So there was clearly some English speaking going on as well. So just an observation.
yeah, so I'm gonna just spin it over there. Looking back to the 10 years of my career, I'm just so grateful for my loyal fans who have been supporting me since day one and given all the love and support that has made me never ever want to stop. And not only stop with what I love, but never stop with what I'm dreaming of, and to write more music
and to have the ability and a voice for others to inspire. I mean, that to me is a gift that I will forever be so, so grateful of. But I also want to say that each and every one of you inspire me to be the best version of myself.
And are the words I love you.
That was really cool. You know, it gets me thinking about, you know, I don't think there's a lot of professions where somebody can start something like practically from the cradle, and or in this case I think it might have actually been in the cradle, um, to the point where, you know, they get old and it's still just as much a passion, you know, at the end of their life as that is at the beginning, right? She's not at that point, obviously, but you see musicians that are like that. um, you know, sometimes you might say that it's, you know, a money thing or something, right? You look at the Eagles or Aerosmith or Pink Floyd or these bands that have been around since the 60s, right? They've been playing for 60 years and heck, they're still out there actually playing stuff. Um, and you wonder, like, are they just doing it because they need money and that's what they do? But then you listen to these guys talk, or I was watching an interview. I don't know if you've ever watched the Rick Beato channel. He's a guy that, you know, does a lot of music, you know, just oriented things. Usually it tends to be more guitar and rock kind of things. Not always, but a lot of times. Um, and he interviews a lot of really great musicians. And he had an interview with Joe Satriani and Steve Vai that I watched a few weeks ago. And these are guitar players that I had been, you know, watching and trying to emulate and idolize since I was a little kid. And they were clearly, you know, older in this interview. Like the interview was probably in the last year or two, which probably put them in their 60s. I don't know, late 60s. Maybe not that old, but somewhere in the ballpark. But either way, like they were still just talking about how much they loved music and like just still felt the need to create and, you know, do new and interesting things. And it's just got to be great having that kind of a driving force in your life. And it's the kind of thing that, you know, if you're lucky, you can find it real early, like she did, right? Almost, you know, immediately she figured this is what I want to do. And, you know, creating, she talks about writing in the journal and turning that into music. And, but what a blessed life you have to have where you are born with that kind of talent, innate talent, but also you're born with the drive, the love, the passion, the surrounding, right? The kind of a family that can recognize it and nurture it and stick with you through it. And to the point that, you know, she talks about, you know, she's been doing it for 10 years. 10 years, like for a lot of people, that's, you know, a long time in a given job or something, right? And 10 years puts her like still as a teenager who's become world famous and has accomplished some great things, and still just comes across as very grounded and like still is somebody who has a lot of music left to give, which, you know, I think we're all very thankful for. Awesome stuff. I'm really glad that I watched this. I wasn't planning on watching, you know, I say documentary, and it was kind of a documentary, but the last thing that I watched was also kind of a documentary. So my two reactions today have both been kind of not just about the music. Pretty cool. I'm actually glad that I did that. So anyway, the next one I'm sure will just be music. We'll get back to that, back to the roots, so to speak. But thank you everybody for sticking around this long, and I hope you're doing well. I will talk to you soon. I appreciate you angels, and anybody else who may have just, you know, watched this for the first time. I have a hard time thinking anybody who's not already an Angelina Jordan fan has actually made it this far in the video. But if you know, happen to stumble on this and you're still watching, make sure you go check her out. I'll have the original video link to this posted down in the description, all of her socials and everything. Make sure you go like, subscribe, all the things that you want to do to show her the love, because she certainly deserves it. Anyway, take care, and I will see you on the next one.